musicians coming and sort of signing on your website.
Yeah.
So how do you plan to make that happen?
Yeah, I think we've allocated €10,000 to marketing, so we're gonna that's where a lot of our money's going to go towards. So we'll sponsor nights in venues around the country. We've already talked to Breaking Tunes, which is one of the biggest music websites for Irish musicians at the moment, and it's the same umbrella group that run one of the biggest industry festivals in the country, Hard Working Class Heroes in Dublin. And we've talked to them, and they've really been enthusiastic about the idea as well. So we plan to launch it at that festival in October. So that's one of the biggest industry festivals. So we'll hopefully get a lot of exposure there.
I think in addition to that, Breaking Tunes have agreed to help us market the site, because the service works parallel to their service. So they've agreed to help us market the site to their already existing user base, which is essentially 2,500 original bands, which is a percentage of our target. As well as that, we want to do guerrilla marketing campaigns, viral advertising campaigns. Just to add, Rob is actually a music blogger and he's very successful. just running a small website, that just promotes music. So something of this size, with the knowledge we have, we think we could market it quite cheaply, in fact, and quite successfully. The music business is quite contained in Ireland. Everyone talks, It's not like the whole thing is in competition with each other. It likes to support itself. So we think through the structure that's already there, it'll be quite easy.
Sorry, so that was my last question. What's your competition, or what would you see, or who do you see as your competition out here, Brian?
In Ireland, I suppose our main competitor would be the Hot Press Yearbook. So the Hot Press magazine, every year they put out a yearbook, which is like a directory of the music industry.
Okay.
So it's kind of a similar thing, but it's from our own experience of using this Hot Press Yearbook and a general consensus among musicians and people in the industry that the yearbook it's out of date as soon as it's printed, and it's kind of got a bad reputation. So I don't think that's really a competitor. Another external competitor could be Sonic Bids, which is a site in the US that does gig booking, similar kind of gig booking thing. But they've tried to expand into Ireland, but as I said earlier, they charge for every submission. So that's kind of an alien concept to Irish bands, to have to pay to make any kind of submission. And they don't know the local market well enough, so their database of venues isn't anywhere near complete, So they're good.
Most of the acts in the Hot Press Yearbook now would be with agents or would have management. Are you targeting those same acts, or are you looking at unsigned acts?
I think the vast bulk of acts are unsigned. Really, the people in the yearbook we're talking about is the industry side of it,
Yeah.
And the Hot Press Yearbook kind of alienates the smaller acts. Not that it doesn't provide local listings. So if you're in West Cork and you want to find a graphic designer, I'm sure it can provide local listings, but generally it's focused more in Dublin and in that area. But the acts we're targeting are the smaller to medium acts. And as I said earlier, we do wish to develop into a more substantial system for the bigger gigs and whatnot. But right now, at present, that's kind of who we're targeting.
So it's emerging talent.
Yeah,
really.
Generally, yes. As well as cover bands, wedding bands, trad bands, if they want to be on it. Anyone, DJs, anyone who wants to book a gig, really.
And for those that are signed or have a booking agent already, the site will provide a great service for their booking agent or for their manager. It will be the best listing of venues and the music industry in Ireland. So there's no reason, it's not going to be taking work away from them. It'll just be giving them more resources to use.
Is it a concept at the moment, or is it actually, is it a concept for a site, or is it actually in development, or is it actually live, or what's the status at the moment?
We're kind of waiting for a few comments to start.
And at the two ends of the market there, the supplier, if you like, the unsigned groups, and the provider, the venues. who do you think will be easier to attract to the site? I mean, obviously the unsigned people are looking for opportunities to perform, so it's in their interest to get onto this.
Yeah.
But how many of the venues do you think will actually, sign on or participate?
Well, any venue we've talked to has been really positive about it. I mean, right now there isn't really a function for venues. You know, there's so much stuff for musicians themselves. Venues have a Facebook, but that's quite limited, you know. So anyone we've talked to has been really positive. I don't think it'll be too hard. You know, music is inherently kind of ate up or caught up in ego. You know, so we once we get the bigger venues who will come on because they have so much hassle, the smaller venues will just toe into line because that's kind of the way it works. You know, if something's cool or something's in, everyone else gets on board. You know, if a bigger venue is doing it, the smaller ones are.
But you're depending on every venue to have its diary on your site, basically.
Well, there will be a static listing, much like the hot press listing of every venue. Me and Robin tend to build that ourselves, so when they get to the site, it'll be there.
Yeah.
But the actual functionality and the gate booking system, the venues who want it will come on. We'll approach them and encourage them.
How will that be managed? How will, for example, I have a venue and I'm happy to be on the site. It's of absolutely no value to the participants if my current booking isn't up live. Do you know what I mean?
If your current booking,
If, in other words, let's say I have a venue and we take gigs every Friday, Saturday and Sunday night.
Yeah.
So unless my Friday, Saturday and Sunday for the year is up on your site and the vacant slots are, current, then it's not going to work. Do you know what I mean?
Well, at the moment, every venue generally, if they have a web page, they'll have their contact details on it. They'll have their booking details on it. So
do they have their diary on it?
no, they don't. They don't have a diary on it. No, but it was.
The searching, if I understand correctly, do they? So if I'm the venue, I say I need band for Friday.
Yeah.
So I do the searching.
Yeah, but was it not the other way around as well? That
It is the other way around. Are you saying that they'll provide free slots for the year?
No. Okay, I'm a band
Yeah.
and I'm on the site and I'm looking to play on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I understand this, that I can go in there, look at a venue,
Yeah.
and find a venue that suits my criteria for my music that's free on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Am I right in that?
Yeah.
For that to work, you need the venues to have their current diary on your website.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, yeah.
The venue is free, not
Exactly.
that it's free gig.
No, but the venue is free.
The venue just happens to be free.
That,
Yeah.
that they don't already have a gig.
Yeah, totally. And that's quite simple for them to specify what nights are free for them. It's just a click of a few buttons, tick a few boxes.
Well, that's what I'm coming to, the practicality of that. If I'm a venue now, as opposed to the musician, and I come on and I register on your site, there is an onus on me to keep my diary updated on your site.
But there's an onus on venues as it is. They actually have to do something. I mean, we'll be reducing the amount of work. They have to do this manually in some other form or other, has to be done.
Of course they do, because they try and fill slots.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, will they do it? Number one, I don't know, I know nothing about the business, so will they do that? Or will they be,
Okay.
and secondly, are there any barriers to doing that? For example, may they not want to identify certain acts on certain nights? Or
I don't see why that would be beneficial to them, as we've said, anyone we've talked to has been extremely positive about it.
I think you need some key relationships in place, because I do some work with a comedy agency in Dublin who feed the listings into, say, entertainment.ie, who are now the source for TV3, the Irish Times tickets. They're content providers for all these people. So if you had a relationship with entertainment.ie, it could be you'd have some sort of a database on your site that's been updated through, an RSS feed that's automatically the stuff coming into your site without you doing any work.
Well, we have to some extent. We were talking about FMC and breaking tunes, and that is something that we've talked about, that any information that is uploaded on either site will be fed to each other, and we'll feed each other traffic.
Yeah.
And initially with the marketing, that they will help us promote the venue to their users.
Yeah, but at the moment, the most extensive content providers are entertainment.ie, And the other site worth checking out is the hotpress.com site. They're the two, they're the most interesting. Hotpress.com wouldn't want to see you coming because you're obviously going to be competition, I think, in the longer term. But the other people might be interested in doing some sort of a synergy with you.
Yeah,
But just
worth
in terms
thinking about, yeah.
of, for you to move quickly, I think if you plug into 2 or 3 other people who will do the heavy lifting, so that you just do what you're good at, which is drawing in the bands, drawing in the venues, and don't get bogged down in. Because I think what Neil's question is, for an up-to-date site to work, it's got to have like extensive listings that are current. Now, just as an aside, not every venue would want every band in Ireland to know that they're free night because they're doing everything.
Yeah.
So they may not, yeah.
But can we just say that that's the whole idea of the site? So, like as you're saying, not every band or not every venue, they set criteria, and that's essential. And that's what when we talk to venues, that's what they all said to us. Well, we can't just give you our details because we don't want the bands knowing, and that's the problem. That's the whole problem. So what we've developed is something that obviates that whole kind of distraction. And you have the system of criteria, so they specify what criteria they require a band to fulfill. So that whole problem is eradicated, and then they'd be happy to say, okay, we have a free slot and we want you to meet this criteria. And then the whole idea of the site and the educational value of it is that it's driving musicians step by step forward, and they're seeing what they need at every step to play these venues. And okay, I can't actually apply there's no point in me applying there, but I can apply here. I'm just a singer-songwriter. Okay, there's an open mic night, I can go there. Okay, I shouldn't be going to Whelan's, or I shouldn't even bother applying. But at present, that is the problem. They are applying. There is no place where it specifies what's free and what's not. They just ring them up and say 1,000 phone calls a week or whatever. That's kind of the whole premise of the site, that it eradicates that, or one of the premises of the site.
I think you need an investor, you need money to do this, and I think you should talk to someone like Dennis Desmond in NCD, because he might see you as a useful resource down the line for cultivating new talent.
Yeah, I think, again, I know nothing about the business. I think that unless there's something else like it out there, it's a fantastic forum for bands that are trying to break a name for themselves or try to get their music played. I think that's fantastic, and it would be a good resource for me if I had a venue that I can go in and I can look around and I can match, my requirements to what's out there. I just wonder about the other relationship though. I just wonder about the practicality of the venues actually, being too open about when they have bookings or when they have vacancies.
Have you spoke to say the Roisin Dove?
We haven't focused venue-wise in Galway. It's been mostly Dublin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say if you talk to Googie and Kevin Healy, just that would be. They'd give you an idea of what would be useful for them.
Yeah.
We did talk to I don't know if you come across Dave Allen. He runs Whelan's in Dublin and the Village and the Mercantile there. And when we presented the idea to him, what he told us was that he wanted to do exactly the same thing. He wanted to have something on Whelan's page that would help them filter the bands that come in and explain to them what they should have. So that's really like, from talking to the venues, that's how we shaped this idea. So we found a middle ground between what venues want and what bands want, and so we hope.
So you're like a spam. You're stopping spam.
That's a better.
So that would be a turn on for the venues that you could just reduce their brief.
Exactly. They may not necessarily have to actually disclose their calendar.
Yeah.
They may just be saying, well, look, of all the rubbish that's coming into us,
Yeah.
we're only going to do this.
Yeah, totally.
You're saying if someone will get 1,000 phone calls a week, that is reduced, and it's terrific.
Yeah. So when they get an email, they get one email every day. The bands that best match their criteria are the highest bands.
Yes.
So they don't even have to look if a band doesn't match the criteria.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can ignore that email. Here's 4 bands that actually suit, and maybe we can have a look at this.
Love the name, by the way.
Yeah, it's very good.
Thanks.
Very cool.
That was Rob.
What instrument do you play?
Drum kit.
Oh, yeah. How'd you go for a cello there?
I used to be a drummer, but I'm all right now. Thanks very much. Well done.
Thanks.
My name is Aidan Malani.
I'm Sean Reynolds.
I'm Derek. And we are Easy Park Limited. And our product is the Easy Park card. So before I begin, I have my Easy Park card here. Bit of a mock-up what it'll do. So I park my car outside, so I want to start my timer. So I'll just pass it against it. The code is taken and it's recorded. So my car is marked. So, as you may have guessed, we're in the parking industry. And to start off, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a small insight into the parking industry and some figures. So, at the moment, parking in Ireland is worth in or around €360 million. There are over 390,000 parking spaces, public parking spaces in Ireland alone. So we'll regionalise that. So in Galway, there's actually almost 99,000 cars registered in County Galway and City. So there's a lot of volume. And we have estimated at full capacity and full use for 360 days of the year that the parking market to the County Council at the moment is worth €17 million every year. So, like every business, we all have pains, we all have headaches, we all have problems. So the parking owners, county councils, multi-stories, shopping centres, all have pain in the head. First, vandalism and theft. 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you've seen in the Galway Advertiser, there was an article about vandals rigging the parking machines in Galway, the coin machines. And what happened was, they were rigged, so when a person put in the coin, it was redirected into a other collection point. The parking was still validated, but they came along at night, took out their collection and had all their coins. It has been rectified now, but that was major loss to the county council at that time. So vandalism and theft, stealing parking machines, or graffiti, all that is a major problem. Costs. Like any business, public or private, cost is a big thing. You have the cost of the maintenance, upkeep. You have cost of paper and coin collection, if not every day, if not 3 times a week. A good example of this is we were talking to the parking manager in Sligo, with Sligo County Council, and he told us that twice a week, 2 lads are employed to drive all the way from Sligo, or from Dublin down to Sligo, twice a week to clear all the coins and bring them all the way back to Dublin, twice a week. So there's major costs there and probably major inefficiencies. Technology. Technology is everywhere today. Technology, especially in the public sector with county councils and city councils, is quite old and inefficient. So it definitely is a problem with reporting and again the coin collection, they all want to change. And paper. Everyone is trying to reduce their carbon footprint. You have the paper tickets that is always printed out for every parking transaction. You have paper reports. It's a big problem. So now what I'll do is I'll hand you over to my colleague Sean Reynolds and he will go through some of the emerging trends in the market.
Thanks, Aidan. These emerging trends are from a survey recently by the International Parking Institution. One is an increased demand for parking revenue. That's 44% of parking managers want that. Second one is an increase for green parking, reducing carbon footprint, reducing the amount of paper used. The third is an increased demand for cashless parking, which makes it easier for them. The fourth is an increased use of cell phones for parking. And the fifth is an increased move towards innovative technologies. Now, if you can just keep these in mind for a minute. Then we had our eureka moment, which was Easy Park. Easy Park, for the business customer, is a cashless system, so there's no physical cash involved. Everything is done electronically. You top up your account online, you go up, you swipe in like Enda did earlier, a timer is started, and then when you're finished parking, you swipe out, the timer is then stopped, and your account is calculated and the balance reduced sufficiently. It's electronic, so there's no paper. All the reports that have to be collected from the machines as well as the money are stored on a server, and then anyone can access them from the server. There's no need to print out multiple reports or have a big roll of reports collected into the machine. Cost reduction. the technology the council uses at the moment are 8, 10, 12 years old. These are costly to maintain. Modern technology is very simple to maintain and is easy to maintain and very cheap to maintain. It's the latest technology. We are using RFID technology, which is future-proofing ourselves against any change. For the retail customer, it's stress-free. They don't have to look for change anymore. They don't need to go into a shop trying to get change, going out to the machine, then trying to calculate how much time, right, I'm going to be an hour, half an hour, and then trying to put in enough money, and then find out they're only going to be 25 minutes. It's user-friendly. The website, you can just go on it, it'll be able to tell you your account balance, how much is on it, giving you more control. You're able to see how much you spent in parking, where you park the most, and how long you park for. Mobile access, we've an app, we'll actually be able to show it to you in a few minutes, that's in prototype development. It'll show you your account balance, your details, you'll be able to top up through your app, and then hopefully we're hoping to upgrade it so that there'll be maps built into it, and then you'll be able to know where there's actually a space through the maps. Now I shall hand over to my colleague again.
So, that is our product. As you can see, if you think back to the problems, it is solving every one of those problems. The emerging trends that are in the parking market that we've seen, it ticks all those top 5 trends. So we hope that you think that this is future and this is the way that parking is going to be. Before I leave, I'm going to scan out as I'm finished parking. So I'm just going to, here it is, the number again, and my parking is finished. If you have any questions, thanks very much.
Very good, very succinct.
What we're going to do is actually
show
the application. It should be user friendly, so
It's on mobile.
can
It's
go
now
past
for
forward.
mobile, okay.
So can I ask you just the economics of this? So the standard system that's there with the county councils, car parks and so forth, you're be proposing that would be completely replaced by this?
well, no, because you will always have visitors. So not everyone will have an easy park card. But yes, in time, if we what we will do is roll it out to Ireland. So we'd hope that people can move from city to city and still use the card.
Okay.
But you still have to have a coin element.
Alright, but even a phased introduction, you're talking about obviously a software investment for something like the county council.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a hardware investment in terms of the on-street.
But there's a kiosk, yeah.
Are there any figures at all?
Martin?
Yeah, to implement in like Don Street, it'd be about 150,000 to implement in on street, and multi-story it'd be about 210,000.
So it's a major capital investment.
It is, yeah. We're thinking big. I know everyone starts small.
So in thinking big, have you done any projections as to how what's the payback time?
Payback time is about first year we were making a profit, but that was because we had our we have a charge that every time someone uses our card, we get a % of that fee. We had it 3%. Maybe the council mightn't go for that. We might have to adjust our accounts. Maybe they might only go for 1%. Then it'd be about 2-3 years before we start maybe making a profit.
So would you fund the capital investment, is that the
No,
way, or would the council have to fund the investment?
The council would buy the stuff off us,
So by the sensing equipment and
off us, and then they'd pay us back over time.
And you see that happening in the current environment?
Well,
It's not easy in the county councils. We know budgets are cut, but if we can show them that we're going to future-proof it, everything is going to become modernised, everything is going to be, technology-driven, and if we can show that the benefits of efficiency, less costs, we're really going to try our best with the councils, as well as private parking owners like multi-story shopping centres, stuff like that, who maybe have a bit more revenue to deal with, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. We're not afraid.
Galway City Council are actually upgrading their machines at the moment. They're bringing in new machines to replace the old machines.
Yeah,
So they're spending capital.
Yeah, you'd wonder, obviously, relative to the scale you're talking about here, but in terms of future-proofing, I mean, I don't think it's pie in the sky that if you're already looking at an app, for example, that one couldn't use sat-nav or similar technology in a mobile phone to literally park into a parking spot, log your location, and do the same thing by mobile phone.
Yeah, I take that on board. Again, that would be in the future. We would look into different technologies. The RFID at the moment will be implemented over the next, I think it's 3 years, into almost all smartphones. So you'll have a chip, so you won't have the card anymore. You literally just go up with your smartphone and just pass over it, and it'll work the exact same way. But yeah, I do take that on board, and we will be looking into future technologies as well.
It's predicted by 2013 over a quarter of the market will be smartphone, and of that, over 75% of the phones will have RFID chips built into them. So you'd be able to use the app on your phone, just go up to the machine and scan your phone by it then.
Well, with that sort of projection, it even makes the case even stronger that it's likely that the technology will be there to use the satellite navigation. And basically, you're talking about a different type of software that will match your tracking physical location in car spaces. It just might be.
Yeah, we do take that on board. Yeah.
This is out completely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, we do take that on board. Yeah.
Is that a parking meter?
No, it's
or
just
a ticket dispenser?
No, it's just a kiosk. It'll just sit beside or another location to the parking meter. As I said, we'll still probably need to find.
So that replaces the current, where you have, say, on a street, you have one ticket dispenser which could cover a 100-yard stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what that's going to replace?
Yeah.
And then if I'm a traffic warden going along the cars in that 100-metre stretch, how do I know which car is okay?
Well, what happens is when you scan, there's a GSM, basically a mobile device, there's a SIM card in them, and it sends the data back to a central server and out to a handheld device, which is a GSM device as well, and a reg number will be taken. So if when they come up to a car, let's say, okay, there's no city council ticket on it, so he inputs the reg, and it will either tell him if the parking meter or if the person had started their time, or if they hadn't, they will issue a fine because they hadn't tagged in.
Okay, so the local authority warden has a system checks if your car is clocked in.
Yeah.
Which still requires the deployment of a warden with the sat nav technology that rules the warden out as well.
Yeah.
Which is all computerized. I'm familiar with, say, for the example, the ambulance service at the moment have a tracking system.
Yes.
Whereby they know where every ambulance is at any time. So
Yes.
the technology is there. It's not too far off.
Yeah. Okay, we do take that on board. Yeah, we do. But yeah, we will look into that. Yeah.
I guess one thought that struck me when I looked at this, and I think the concept generally is excellent. Is would you almost have to take over the management of the parking? To, like you say, that I accept that the council or whoever it might be, or whoever runs the big multi-storey car parks, that they make certain capital investments on an ongoing basis. But the fact that there's a capital investment is always a bit of a barrier. Probably more so now than maybe in the past, that is a way in which you might do it if that's a barrier. I know you require much more money to get going then, but that you would always put a proposal to council that would be about taking over the whole management of it. And I suppose that's a bit of putting your money where your mouth is then, because can you drive a whole level of efficiencies with this system? But I just think that if you do come up against the barrier of the capital investment, then I think that is another that's another way that you could possibly
because actually from research and stuff we've come to realise that councils are going more public-private now anymore. They want a balance, so if someone can take a little bit of work off their hands, we can see that trend coming along.
There was actually, in the survey that I was talking about earlier, 23% of parking managers from councils and other private car parks want more public-private partnerships.
Right, heard that. So maybe that's where, if that's a trend, maybe that's where your niche, is most applicable, and particularly maybe with the development of some new parking. I mean, the first day that someone builds a multi-storey car park, they have to put something in.
Exactly.
So it's maybe getting some of those and then piggybacking off.
Private.
Exactly.
But they have to get a substantial scale to justify the investment.
But if you had it set up in one location, if you had one large private car park, then it's maybe easier to bring in some of the public, the street parking around by it. But I must say the concept and it's just a bit like the tolls, I guess.
Basically it is.
It's all done.
Yeah.
Just click a button on your.
That's it. Everything's going on
your iPhone.
Have you any other questions? We,
Well done.
Well done.
we're